Kings are being thrown. There's no room for this in the sport. There's no room for the Davis brothers to be in the building tonight. The police escorted them out. You saw a stroller being...
His jokes prior to his fight against Lamont Roach. After the fight, look how many were waiting.
The hardest punch I ever faced. No. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch.
Kings are being thrown. There's no room for this in the sport. There's no room for the Davis brothers to be in the building tonight. The police escorted him out. You saw a stroller being moved. All his jokes prior to his fight against Lamont Roach after the fight. Look how many were waiting. Waiting. I think the hardest punch I ever faced. Nope. And I ain't _ on him or nothing like that. He can punch. Tensions rise backstage as Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach come face to face before their rematch. Lamont remains unfazed, ignoring Gervonta's words outside the ring. He stays focused on the fight itself, believing his actions in the ring will speak louder, and he is confident he will walk away victorious. The outside critics, I know what I could do in the ring. And that's the only thing that matters, honestly, is that I go out, give it my all, and perform. And most likely 9 times out of 10 when I do that, I'll be victorious. Lamont Roach has confidently dismissed the notion that Gervonta Davis is the most powerful opponent he has faced. According to Roach, he has endured harder punches in past bouts, and Davis's power does not intimidate him. His calm demeanor reflects a mindset built on experience and resilience, reinforcing that he will not be overwhelmed by reputation alone. I think the hardest puncher I ever faced. No. And I ain't _ on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Endo, he's from Puerto Rico, bro. He got bricks in his hands, bro. I lie to you now. He punch hard. I ain't going to lie, he a hardhead, _ During their first match, Davis's momentary lapse led him to take a knee, sparking immediate chaos and shifting the public perception. Roach's performance during that sequence elevated his status, portraying him as the first to genuinely test Davis. That narrative has since fueled the belief that Roach could possibly dominate the rematch, especially now that people view him as a real threat. Tank did that, so I know they got in his eye, but they should have counted it. They would have counted, it would have went to Lamont Roach. What I didn't like about Tank, he was gassing up Lamont Roach way too much, and he was already talking about retiring. Seemed a little distracted, didn't he, in the fight? That wasn't the same Gervonta Davis we're really used to seeing. It just lets you know how corrupt these governing bodies are, bro. If that dude took a knee, did he take a knee? Hold on. Hold on real quick. Let me get this out of my eye. How's that not a point like that? You know, a funny thing, bro. That's why I cut my braids off. I had braids and I had the same thing. I went through the same _ when I fought Andre. That burning my eyes, so I cut that off. Recent footage of Davis has revealed a transformed athlete, physically sharper and mentally focused. His increased strength, along with a confident online message, indicates that he is not only training harder, but is also locked into the mindset of domination. Supporters are energized, expecting a powerful comeback in the ring. Roy Jones Jr. praised Davis's explosive fighting style, highlighting his ability to overwhelm opponents with a mix of power and technique. Although he acknowledged that the match remains unpredictable, Jones remains confident that Davis's ring presence will ultimately be too much to handle, and he expects Tank to assert dominance once again. In a Saturday night, Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach. What are we expecting from this fight? Well, we're expecting Gervonta to just continue to show us his dominance and show us who he really is. It's really a coming-out fight for Roach, but we kind of haven't seen him a lot. So he get to show people what he has too. And usually when you get two guys who are boxers, amateurs, it's going to equate to a good fight for the first few rounds. But then when the pro rounds take on, we'll find out, has Roach adjusted to being a pro yet? Or is Tank too superior as a pro? And that's where the difference coming in at you got a good back foot game like that, and you understand boxing like he understands that he gonna make it rough for anybody, but you know Tank is a different animal too. So it's a great fight, that's why everybody want to see. We can't just look at and say, oh, he going to win, or oh, he. Many believe Davis was off his game in the first fight, either due to personal distractions or a flawed game plan. Now, with his pride on the line, Davis appears committed to proving his true potential. His training, attitude, and statements suggest this rematch isn't just about revenge. It's about reestablishing his dominance and ending all doubt. So, breaking news. Tank Davis vs. Lamont Roach 2 is set for August 16th in Las Vegas. And this is a rematch of one of the most controversial fights in recent memory, where Roach arguably won 7 to 8 rounds of that fight. And then Tank took a voluntary knee in round 9, which wasn't ruled a knockdown, but ultimately it was scored a majority draw. Now in the rematch, I do expect Tank to look much better than he did in the first fight. I don't think that was his best performance by any means. And that means being more active in the early rounds. You know, not just staying on the ropes looking for counters. And I'm sure he'll be willing to exchange more with Roach this time around. You know, the left hands, the combinations, the body shots, that's where he had the most success in the first fight. And Roach, he just needs to stick to what made him so successful in the first fight, his forward pressure, staying behind that jab and right hand. But most importantly, he wasn't scared of taking it to Tank, but he also didn't get too aggressive. You know, most of Tank's opponents, if they're scared of the power, they'll sit back on the ropes, get slowly broken down, or if they end up getting too aggressive, they get caught with the counterpunch. But Roach, he was sharp that whole fight. You know, I would go Tank in the rematch. I think he has a lot more to show this time around. But Roach did prove to be a very tough test. But you guys let me know who you got. Roach's ambition for the rematch goes beyond securing a victory. He wants a knockout. His relentless training shows his intent to make a powerful statement. A decisive win over Davis could transform his career, placing him among the top names in boxing and creating a lasting legacy built on both skill and determination. That you sent him to retirement earlier. My initial plan is to win, but every time I fight, I'm trying to knock somebody out. So you know, if that happens in the midst of it, you know, that'd be a blessing. That be definitely something that I work for because I work my ass off. But yeah. If he on his way out, well, why not kick his ass out? It does in a sense. But yeah, it do for sure. I ain't going to lie. I like to prove people wrong, and I damn sure like to prove myself right. So, yeah, it definitely gives me an incentive, and like I said before, I have been before. Heck the fight, they had me duck right now. They really got me. Roach has openly expressed confidence in his preparation, claiming to possess a complete set of skills required for the fight. His words reflect not arrogance but assurance built on effort and training. He believes he is fully equipped to adapt to any situation Gervonta Davis brings inside the ring. Beat 30 people, knocked out 28 of them, right? MHM. What makes you different? He probably can't answer that question. Laughter, he probably can't answer that question. But it's the skill, the will. I got the whole package, man. I ain't going to lie to you. I'm not sitting there waiting to get hit by nobody, especially you know, somebody that's supposed to be a power puncher. That's evidently a power puncher. I got too much. Greg Hackett emphasized that the stakes are equally high for both sides. He believes neither fighter has a clear advantage and that absolute precision will determine the outcome. For Davis in particular, Hackett warned that focus and discipline must be maintained at all times. There is no room for error. Rumors of what's going on in Tank's camp and training with this person, training with that person. Yeah. Who has the edge heading into the rematch? Neither one of them. Lamont, you know what? I'm lying. 5,545 Lamont. Why Lamont got the edge? 'Cause he already did the unexpected. He was supposed to get knocked out coming up from 130. And not only did he not get knocked out, he performed and possibly won the fight. That's what some people believe. I thought it was a very close fight. I bet after you ask me that question, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I think Lamont do have a slight edge just because he did what he wasn't supposed to do. So a lot of people go in there and they very obedient to a Tank's power, and Lamont wasn't that night. Lamont wasn't having it. And he said he wasn't having it. He said it before. Y'all tripping. Y'all must be really like tripping. So I guess we was tripping. Could we see the most focused Gervonta Davis after him getting so much backlash for the performance, for the taking the knee, etc.? This will be the night we have to see the most of focus on Take, because if he's not the most focused, then he going to be in trouble. It's just that simple. This is the night you got to be not on your game. You got to be on your everything game. You know what I'm saying? You got to have everything with you that night and you can't play about it. And you got to mean it. Every step got to be counted for. And he know that. So I'm looking for this just to be a great fight.